Urban Legends. The podcast about Urban Legends. Meet your host, that's right, Neil Chris Hutler.
Hello and welcome to Urbane Legends, the hit #1 super podcast about urban legends. I am number one. I am the captain of the college lacrosse team, Chet Vermont Jr. the 4th, and with me at 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds, this man ain't no slouch. With calf leather interior and beautiful curves, he'll certainly get you some looks at race day track. His interior is sleek and says, "Look at me." It comes in 3 colours, red, and my personal favourite, red. But at £250,000 for the basic model, you know, he's going to cost you. It is always Mr.
Neil Herbert.
Hi, Neil. How you doing? How's your week been?
It was all right until you started your Jeremy Clarkson impression.
How's life as a car these days?
I thought it was a Stig.
No.
Is he still around, the Stig?
I don't know. Like
I know one of them.
Once they got,
I know one of them. He published a book or something, and they all got a bit annoyed and fired him, or he had to leave the show or something.
Oh, really?
He did like an autobiography, yeah.
Oh, it's probably because the 3 they don't.
Jeremy Clarkson's like the only one who's coining it out of this shite, isn't he?
I'm the only one who can coin this.
I think it's because it's going to be a secret, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
he broke the spell. It's like wrestling when they all realised that was fake.
What?
Not fake. Well, you know. Yeah, sorry about that.
These are athletes.
eBay or whatever they call it.
Well, I think the thing with they didn't really need him anymore because they got booted off BBC for being daft racists.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Being bigots, and then they just.
Oh no, the bigotry was fine. It was but punching the producer because he couldn't have a hot meal was the
give me a hot meal.
You know, physically assaulting the staff. So that was the one that they couldn't get away with.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So have you been enjoying your calf leather interior recently?
Yeah, absolutely.
Lovely.
Very, it's very luxurious and well stitched.
It must be like calf leather interior, which is like Trump's jockstrap, something like that.
I don't really want to speculate on.
Good. I'm glad you don't.
Anything that's been that close to little Trump.
So have you been up? So beyond that, what have you been up to this week now? Anything exciting? Anything haunting?
Beyond transforming into a car.
When you're not transforming into a car, that's not very exciting. I'm very difficult to excite.
We've been doing donuts around a car park in
Asda, something like that. Aldi car park.
I was trying to think where you'd need some space for a good donut. But yeah, Asda car park.
It'd just be any car park, wouldn't it? Be all right.
Yeah, it'd be any car park. That's true. Yeah, late at night.
Oh, well, that sounds
when
fun.
the cars are gone.
Yeah,
just drive around in circles,
impressing all the boy racers in their hot hatches, suits up hot hatch, go faster stripes, that kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Do you when you're in car form, do you talk like Knight Rider?
I cannot confirm that, Michael. Yeah, I got the sort of high-pitched British voice.
Nice. So you thinking of taking down some crooked sheriffs at some point?
Well, if I can get Hasselhoff on the blower, yeah, he doesn't respond to my calls anymore. He's too busy getting drunk and singing to his daughter when he's eating a hamburger. That was probably about 10 years ago, to be fair.
It was a while ago. Dad, stop doing this. Shut up, I'm having a drink. Yeah, shut up. Okay, I'll have a burger and then I'll sober up, all right? I've not eaten. Oh, lovely stuff. So, Neil, I've decided...
Back to us all, Chris.
It has happened. Well, that's why I don't have kids anymore. That's why they were taken. The government took my babies. I've decided to get into the lucrative market of fantasy epic fiction because that seems to be quite good. I've come up with quite a good system for because it's always naming it that's difficult, isn't it?
That's true. Yeah, you want a strong
name. So I've come up with a system which is you need to have 2 words. 1 word being something sort of natural and elemental, and the second word being something either used or something that people did in the Middle Ages. So, I don't know, let's say the Comet Runners. Comet Runner. That's quite good. You can write back from that. Or the Moon Loom.
Moon Loom might work, yeah.
The Moon Loom. And then basically you write back from that. So I'm doing the Comet Runner. I haven't figured all of it out. At the moment, I've just written the sex scenes and some of the violence. I mean, the violence.
It's going to be a mature fantasy, yeah.
Yeah, but what I've done is I've tried to write the sex scenes realistic.
It's just embarrassing fun.
Well, so they are they're stoic, they're clumsy, but they're at the end of the day necessary. So that's how I've written those, and and I've written the violence. I mean, but the violence, it's not for kids, Neil. It's not for kids. The violence is very bloody and kinetic. There's incredible detail about the mutilation of corpses and that kind of thing. So what I need to do is then just put some fantasy shit in there, and I reckon I could get a Netflix or Amazon show out of it. What do you reckon?
I think what might have happened here, Chris, is you might have confused fantasy novel with Serial Killer's Manifesto.
Right.
It's an easy mistake to walk
I've got
into.
several of those already.
Yeah. And you know that they're not publishable. They're not.
Well,
I mean, you did get a bit of interest from Random House, didn't you? From that other one.
I did get some interest from Random House, and yeah,
but ultimately they felt it wasn't marketable.
Yeah, Penguin said
it wasn't the right time.
Penguin didn't even get back to me.
No,
it's unbelievable. They still print Blyton, so I don't really see the problem.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of problematic work out there.
I heard back from some newspapers that I sent it to, and they said they wouldn't publish it until I backed up some of the things. So essentially, they were goading me into, doing some killings.
Entrapment.
It's entrapment. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I got the reply because I put my address on it with a self-addressed envelope inside. Please reply to. Lovely. So, Neil, you're leading this week with another one of your pop culture urban legends. What is it?
Well, I'm going to refer you to an article on Mental Floss. Suspicious Minds, the bizarre 40-year history of Elvis Presley sightings.
Elvis
sightings? We're going to have a look into... Yeah.
Okay.
So it's turned into an urban legend, basically, the fact that there's quite a few people who don't believe that Elvis died. As the conventional history has it, Chris, but is it true?
Not according to Bubba Hotep.
Exactly. Yeah, On August 16th, 1977, Elvis Presley died at the age of 42. I didn't realise he died so young, actually. As more than 80% of Americans believe.
He still outlived me.
Mental Floss.
So
sounds like about 20%. Not sure that he did. Or it could be that date was the start of the most spectacular disappearing act in the history of mankind.
Okay. This kind of ties into these celebrity ones like Tupac still being alive.
Actually,
Biggie.
I mean, Elvis is the daddy of all of these kind of theories.
Yeah.
But you do get
John Lennon being dead and replaced with a personator. That was one, wasn't it? There's a few of these.
Well, that's the thing with Bubba Hotep. I really like that film, so I think they should maybe, just do like a franchise. They could do a John Lennon one and a Tupac Shakur one.
Yeah, John Lennon's living in...
Get the blowout to Don Cascarelli or whatever.
John Lennon's living in a B&B.
Yeah,
and
in Worthing.
And he has to defeat a Decepticon.
Well, actually, you could. Well, you think you could very much recreate the chemistry of Bruce Campbell and was it Ozzie Davis?
Yeah.
You could have Tupac Shakur and John Lennon both fighting the Megatron or whatever. And then you're tying it into the Michael Bay universe, so that's bound to make you money, isn't it? Rather than all that tut about King Arthur or whatever he started fucking up there.
If he wants to know about Arthurian legends, he should come to us. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
wants to listen to the hit podcast Merlin's Oak.
Nary a mention of Merlin's Oak.
That's the most important. That's the linchpin of the whole story. He doesn't understand stories. That's his problem.
What kind of mythos are you creating here? I'm worrying about them coming off and hopping mad.
Right, come on then, Elvis. So
there's lots of sightings, lots of theories.
So the theory here is that Elvis isn't dead. That's the theory.
So the theory is he's not dead. He's been spotted elsewhere.
Okay.
So as Mental Floss put it, he's left the realm of popular entertainers and joined the ranks of Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, and to some, Jesus. That might be pushing
the envelope.
Yeah. And again, I didn't realise he died so young. It's a bit like with John Lennon. I think, you're going to get sort of people. Well,
that's a 27 club, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, I've shown my age a bit there, but you'll get a whole bunch of people who died very young, and it's
Is that? Are you 42?
43 actually.
43. So that's why it's really hit home to you that you potentially live worse than Elvis did. So you're on borrowed time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if I go. Is
that why you chose this?
It's like you already died, mate. Don't worry about it. Yeah, this will be my legacy before I die on the toilet tonight. Make the most of it.
It's really weird because he foretold it. Maybe he's not dead either.
Yeah. He wasn't entirely.
He's living with Kurt Cobain. He's living with Kurt Cobain in Dundee. That's what I heard.
Okay.
In a end of tenement house.
Oh yeah,
works in a local Londis.
Oh,
works at a Happy Shop with one of only 3 left.
Kurt, you've blocked the toilet again. What you like? Stop moping.
Come on, mate. Come on, darling. Come on, give us a smile. Come on, darling. It's not happened yet. Just so you're like a cheerful / irritating builder.
Yeah.
Come on, worse things happen at sea. I bet you've got a lovely smile, Kurt. Come on. Come on, get yourself dolled up. We're going down the White Hart tonight. You can have I'll get you as many Camparis as you like, darling.
They're not taking me out with a shotgun.
No shotguns.
No, not allowed. Okay, so first sighting was on the afternoon of August 16th, 1977. So I'm just checking on this. Okay, so this literally would have been the day that he died. Well, presumably he'd, the day he died. Anyway, a man bearing a striking resemblance to him is said to have purchased a one-way ticket from Memphis International Airport to Buenos Aires. He supposedly gave the name John Burroughs, a pseudonym Elvis used when checking into hotels.
John Burroughs.
Uh-huh. So
did he go there to join the ex-Nazis?
Well, I mean, I think he was mildly right-wing, actually, not necessarily massively. Well, certainly not to that extent. But
I don't know his politics.
No, I don't know.
Nor do I care to.
No,
I imagine he was a product of his time and environment. Though, let's just put it that way.
Yeah, let's leave it at that. Not speculate. An author of a book called Elvis Decoded claims to have debunked the popular and wholly unsubstantiated story by interviewing airport officials and determining that international flights weren't available from Memphis in 1977. So that puts a little bit of hole in that story.
Didn't think that one through.
Also, why would the most famous man on the planet go to the airport on the day that he's faking his own death? And then they've put in here, maybe Elvis figured his acting skills would help him avoid suspicion.
Maybe.
I reckon that's a dig at his acting skills.
I think it's a dig at his acting skills. I think.
You
know
what? He was a musician first, actor second.
Yeah. Do you know what? He brought a lot of people a lot of joy with his films, like I can't remember, Honolulu something or other, and Elvis at War. I don't know the name of his films. Elvis versus
The Eyes a Go Go.
Elvis versus the Japanese.
Yeah. Mildly uncomfortable. 80.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, so people liked it. So what? Does this person reckon they're a fucking great actor? Then why are they writing?
Yeah.
Why are they writing poison pen pieces about a dead man?
When are you going to be on stage playing the Dane, whoever's written this?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Kenneth
You know Gilgood. How dare you, sir? Well, he may not have been classically trained. The boy certainly had charisma, and that's something you cannot learn upon in the RCA.
And of course, it's a stage for him to just get out and sort of sing a few songs, isn't it?
Well, I mean, is this person so sniffy about the Rat Pack doing films? Because they weren't good actors. Were they?
Well, allegedly weren't particularly good singers.
There was a lot of that was Hollywood, wasn't it? It's not. I mean, what does this person want? That's what I want to know. What do they want? Elvis was probably offered a chance to go in a film and offered a good old wedge, and he went, "Yeah, all right." And then the people in Hollywood,
he told to by the Colonel, wasn't he?
And the people in Hollywood, if we put Elvis in the film, we'll get loads of people will go and watch it because they really like Elvis. And then loads of people went and watched it and really enjoyed the film because Elvis in it. And this little spiteful cow, whoever he is sitting there going, "Yeah, he's the one very good actor." So shut up, you prick. Everyone, do you know what? I only watch Werner Herzog. Fuck off, mate. Yeah, right. Do you know what I mean?
Werner Herzog's got a sense of humour. I think he'd watch a bit of Elvis.
Oh, well, no, he wouldn't mind watching Elvis. That's the thing. The person that whoever wrote this, it holds up as a deity.
Yeah.
You don't know your bore, mate. Stop being. You're more shallow than the people who you have a go at. That's the truth. Do you know what?
Told Kenneth Partridge, and we'll carry on reading that from your article now.
Yeah, carry on, Kenneth Partridge. Do you know what? You might not like it. Plenty of people did. None of us have the right to tell people what is good and what isn't good. It's up to everyone individually to get any joy out of this difficult life that they can. And the fact that you're just adding bitterness into the zeitgeist makes you, I think, worse than Hitler. Partridge. Carry on. Sorry.
That seems entirely proportionate for a one-sentence mild rebuke. So, well done for sticking up for Elvis there. And so another thing was around the funeral, which is it looks like that was 2 days later apparently.
There were 3 of them at the funeral.
Got in the ground quick. So footage of the surface shows pallbearers struggling to lift a 900-pound copper coffin. The king had packed on a few pounds in his later years, but there's no way he was pushing a half-ton. Are you having a crack at his weight?
Here we go. Do you see what you see now? I had this person, I had his number, first sentence. I know his type. Right, he's the kind of person who used to hang around with all the bullies, isn't he? So he wouldn't get picked on.
So, one explanation for how heavy it was is that the casket could have been outfitted with a cooling system, the kind you'd use to keep a wax dummy of a beloved celebrity from melting on a hot summer day. So we've got a La Pascalita sort of thing going on here.
Yeah, I mean, but also a cooling system. What, like a portable refrigerator, or would it be a chemical cooling system?
You've got to imagine in the 70s, that's making quite a bit of noise as well. Yeah. That Freon. Why is that coffin expelling like Freon gas and sort of
why are the pallbearers? It was actually really light coffin, but the pallbearers were actually getting asphyxiated with all the Freon collapsing. I mean, was it an open or closed casket? I mean, why would you need to bother?
I don't actually say, but this is what's weird. But and anyway, if it was open, then it wouldn't really have been particularly good for cooling, would it? You would have thought. I don't know.
No.
Does it sound crazy? Presley's cousin. Oh no, it must have been open before they. Right. I think probably what they would have done. I had an open casket. People probably went by to pay their respects. Then they closed.
Bang the lid down.
Off. Yeah,
carry it off. But.
Well, just put it in a cold room, I would argue there. That'd be a lot easier.
So were they worried about it melting in the chapel?
Well, or maybe it was just, they figured like they get halfway down the hill to the cemetery or something and then just let a wax start tipping out the side. I don't know.
Pour it out.
I mean, it's a ridiculous theory, and the explanation is even more ridiculous. I'm not sure. It doesn't really explain.
I mean,
but hang on a minute, Chris. We've not heard all the evidence yet. So
I fancy my chances of having once like kissed a dead body, and that's not as weird as it sounds. It was my gran had passed, and I kissed her on the forehead. I fancy that I would be able to tell the difference between a dead human and a waxwork human, having also been to Madame Tussauds.
But what if it had an extensive cooling system?
I mean, wax is still different. Wax is still different than flesh.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that was it. Maybe
it's a bit waxy. Do you know what I mean? It's got a waxy feel to it.
I mean, that's certainly what they seem to be implying. I mean, it doesn't even say, well, there was definitely...
And they knocked that... In 3 days, they knocked together the world's most lifelike waxwork model. I would have thought that much wax would take longer to...
Well, hang on a second.
They already had it ready.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, of course, because he hadn't actually died.
You're planning this, aren't you? So you've put out a fake death. But this...
Yeah, sorry, he hadn't actually died.
Yeah.
Got caught up.
Yeah. So, he's
confusing, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it's very confusing, yeah. I would say almost asinine. So, that might sound crazy, but here's the thing, Chris. Press's cousin, Gene Smith, thought the body looked a little strange. His nose looked kind of puggy looking, and his right sideburn was sticking straight out. It looked about an inch, he said in the 91.
Like 90 degrees, like an L.
Yeah. And his hairline looked like a hairpiece.
That kind of like basic thing, you would have think that wouldn't be the bits that they'd fuck up. It would be
no, exactly.
I couldn't really. His paws looked weird and his mouth looked a bit odd. Rather than,
hang on a second. He was also troubled by the smoothness of Presley's typically calloused hands. He was having a proper explore here. So how he didn't find out it was, and the sweat on his brow. Wax doesn't sweat either, so I'm not quite sure what's being implied here.
No,
unless it was just like wax beads,
condensation. Yeah, unless they'd that's when they'd been modelling him.
There was some sort of irrigation system under the skin as well. It was very
for the cooling system. There was condensation building up on top of his head. Well, unless when they actually modelled him, they did it so realistically that the real beads of sweat of quite an overweight man with a diet of meat would have in the American South. So they actually carved in the beads of sweat into the model.
Could be. I mean, surely what you do is just, maybe get the real Elvis in there, give him a sedative or something, and then everyone come up and pay their respects.
We already had a few sedatives, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's fine. Just go and have a lovely sleep in here, Elvis. It'll all be over in a few hours. Anyway, no, apparently not. Anyway, so there you go. So potentially, they shoved a wax. We should get that.
Initially, when you said cooling system, I thought that they actually had the real Elvis, buried him, but he had like a cooling system.
That was what I was thinking.
They dug him up.
Putting in. It was going to be some extravagant thing, exactly, just to keep him cool and then dig him up. But no, apparently this was to keep a wax dummy cold.
Wow.
Yeah, that sounds fairly convoluted. And talking of convoluted, so attentive fans were further spooked when they saw the King's headstone because it read Elvis Aaron Presley with 2 A's, even though he had the middle name Aaron with 1 A.
Oh, well, that's...
So, the theory is Elvis used the incorrect spelling to signal to fans he was still alive.
That's the correct spelling.
A, as well as the first word of the life, Chris. So what about that?
Isn't the correct spelling a double A, though, Aaron?
That's the only time I've
yeah, so it's the correct spelling. So it could
be... No, apparently his birth name was 1A, R-O-N.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those ones, obviously there are derivatives, presumably. But
so what's happened there is someone's told, like, on the phone, the tombstone carver guy, they go, what's his name? Elvis Aaron Presley. And then he's carved it in with the correct name, but Elvis spelled it differently. That's what it sounds like to me.
That sounds far less likely than it was done at the behest of Elvis himself to signal that he wasn't dead when he was faking his own death.
That's true. I didn't, You're right.
There's one for the diehards there. It's a little Easter egg in his attempt to, he couldn't help himself, bless him,
Little wink.
Right, I'm off to the airport to buy a ticket to Buenos Aires now, personally.
Well, what do you mean you don't fly international?
I mean... The alternative is, the fact that he just preferred to spell it in the more common way, and that's how he'd been doing for quite a while, as legal documents attest.
Mm.
So in actual fact, yeah, he spelled it 2 A's himself, by the sounds of it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
So as born, he was spelled A-R-O-N, but he preferred to spell it A-A-R-O-N.
As ignorant appearance.
Second major Elvis sighting came in a photo snapped on December 31st, 77.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been off to Buenos Aires and he's obviously come back. So he was, while visiting Graceland with his family, a man named Mike Joseph took some random pictures of Presley's pool house. A few years later, studying him with a magnifying glass, he spotted a shadowy Elvis-like figure sitting in the doorway.
What was this? I suppose I didn't have the internet.
I mean, so Elvis was pretty keen to get found by the
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Gone
Why
straight
did he
back to
hang
Graceland.
around? Yeah, Graceland, which is open to the public.
Yeah. And then the experts at Kodak verified that nothing had been doctored. So somebody was peering out of a window.
Somebody worked at Graceland.
Yeah. So apparently on a Larry King interview, Elvis's good buddy Joe Esposito suggested it was another Presley associate, Al Strada, in the photo.
One of the Dixie Mafia, or whatever they're called.
Could have been.
No, Memphis Mafia, they were called. Dixie Mafias out of Justified.
Dixie Mafias, yeah.
Just a Oxycontin.
Yeah, and there's a similar one where they captured an uncannily Elvis-like looking like person next to Muhammad Ali and Jesse Jackson in an 84 newspaper photo.
Again, like if you go into ground,
you're not hanging out with Muhammad Ali,
the most famous people in the world. Yeah,
yeah, and it was a sports agent called Larry Kolb who actually came forward and showed that it was him. But after an interview to identify the man, though, Ali reportedly said, "That's my friend Elvis." I mean, firstly, they're saying reportedly said, and secondly, I think Muhammad Ali probably
bit of a joker, isn't
he? Yeah, he's quite a witty fellow. So yeah. Right, so now we're off to the 80s, and he pops up in Kalamazoo.
Hey, hello to everyone, our listener in Kalamazoo. Yeah,
spotted.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening, and thank you for your town's input into this episode.
So Elvis pops up, Kalamazoo, Michigan, and it was a city that Elvis had played 4 months before his death.
Oh.
Now, in 88, a woman named Louise Welling from nearby Vicksburg claimed she'd seen Presley standing in line in a local supermarket. Now, I got to get my beans.
How
do you think he was dressed, and what do you think he was buying, Chris?
Is it obvious or weird? It's obvious. He was dressed in a jumpsuit.
In a white jumpsuit.
And was he buying burgers and ammunition?
Oh, that's a really good one. Well, no, he was purchasing an electrical fuse.
Right.
But here's the thing. So he was, rocking a white jumpsuit, apparently, and purchasing an electrical fuse. So fair enough. Doing a bit of shopping, probably. We did a bit of DIY. Elvis wasn't above that, man, the people.
My toaster's on the blink. I need to get a new fuse.
8 a.m. So,
I gotta
have some terrible Elvis impressions.
I gotta have my English muffins in the morning.
Oh, I feel just blown. Terrible. But Welling's daughter later spied him scarfing Whoppers at Burger King. So you're right on the burger thing. And here's the part I love. So expert David Alder told the Los Angeles Times in an interview promoting his Presley-themed cookbook. Wonder if he's incentivized to lie. What gives this account eerie credibility, said David Adler, is that Burger King was by far Elvis's favourite fast food chain. So there you go.
I thought that he had his... I'm not sure that's true, though. Because
all I recall, I mean, he had a personal chef who used to make him, I think it was like fried peanut butter and banana sandwiches.
But he used to also have
I'm sure you can get better burgers than Burger King.
He used to get his burgers like flown in or driven in from a specific place that he really liked.
Take it up with expert David Adler.
Oh, do you know what?
Excuse me.
Do you know what? It's not worth my time now.
Have you got a Presley-themed cookbook, Chris? I don't think so.
Well,
yeah,
don't I? I've got a Maggie Thatcher themed cookbook that I'm trying to release at the moment.
Yeah,
it's not going well.
How's that going? No,
it's not going well.
It's synonymous with good eating, is she?
No, it's not really. It's all it's everything in aspic
or joy.
Yeah, it's just everything in aspic.
And apart from sort of maybe some haute cuisine from France, I mean, the 80s in England was very much more of a culinary wasteland, wasn't it? Yeah.
Finders crispy pancakes.
Vesper curries. Did you ever have any of those?
No, I didn't
all
eat
in the
curries until I was an adult. My mum used to have them.
Yeah.
You kept boiling the bag beef and gravy. A lot of boil in the bag stuff, a lot of oven food. Fish,
I mean, the only difference between the
fingers.
boil in the bag beef gravy and the curry was they put some curry powder and some raisins in the curry. It was not what you would call and of course it was the, curry as opposed to, like korma or
just curry,
real thing.
which just means sauce.
Yeah. Okay, so after the Kalamzoo sighting, there were a bunch of other sightings of him doing unreal things like pumping gas, buying junk food, etc. These were consistent with the notion that he'd faked his death to escape the public eye. So I suppose he's knocking around doing normal things. But here's
in
the
public,
thing. He
though.
started. Do you know
where you're most likely to catch the public eye? It's in public.
In public?
It's in public, yeah.
But then if you're just doing something normal like pumping gas, you'd be like, oh, you look a lot like Elvis might if he'd lived to this age. And
Pumping gas in a jumpsuit with Elvis written on the back.
That's what I like about the story in Kalamazoo, the fact that he'd be wearing a white jumpsuit. It's not how you're going to blend in, is it?
Well...
But maybe that's hiding in plain sight,
that
isn't
is,
it?
you can just say, Elvis was possibly...
Well, if I'd fake my own death, would I really be walking around in a jumpsuit?
Yeah, exactly.
Again, that's the Bubba Hotep angle, the impersonator. So in 1990, he risked blowing his cover by appearing in the 1990 holiday comedy Home Alone.
Did he?
Remember that one, Chris?
I do remember Home Alone, yeah.
So there's a scene at the airport where Catherine O'Hara is trying to get home, and there's a beardy guy behind her who looks quite a bit like Elvis might.
Do you think that he's just got one of those... Do you think that just if you look at every photo of everything ever, that some people who look a bit like anyone might turn up? Do you think there might be a bit of confirmation bias going on?
I mean, considering you can literally study a photo of just like stuff on the moon,
that's
figure that a face is there. Yeah, no, absolutely. We like seeing patterns. That's what the brain works. So, yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I've seen some side by sides. Yeah, there's a similar bone structure, etc. Now, so there was a bit of a back and forth around this one, and so somebody would go like, "Well, how do you explain it then? You have to show it, isn't Elvis?"
What? That isn't how that isn't.
No, burden of proof is on you, mate, if you're claiming this. But somebody actually did do this and pointed out he was an extra who'd starred in a bunch of other John Hughes movies. So
there you go. Have that, dickhead.
Or was it, Chris?
Well, is John Hughes giving Elvis a bit of side work because of...
Because here's the thing. Well, exactly. Well, he's
I keep blowing my fuses. Okay.
Well, see, here's the thing, because we'll come on to this in a minute, because he was clearly just he's blowing fuses left, right and centre. Yeah. And he's not, how's he...
He overloaded the circuits.
He can't be a singer anymore, and that's his natural talent. He's just going to get back into acting, isn't he?
I know, of course.
Take one of his other, but he can only get sort of like an extra. He can't be the star there. So he's got
apparently he wasn't very good actually, according to some people.
Well, let's agree to disagree. Now here's the thing: Chris Columbus, who directed Home Alone, he'd just made Heartbreak Hotel, which was an '88 film about some kids trying to kidnap Elvis.
Oh,
so there you go.
What is that? Proof positive.
It's just another thing that's vaguely associated. So
right.
just trying to pile up a bit of circumstantial evidence to try and make a case here. I'll come on to the best one at the end. So there's quite a few sightings of him as in various things. In 2016, there was video of a Graceland groundskeeper purported to be Elvis, which got the internet all shook up. There's another little joke there. So it's a grey-haired guy in a baseball cap and Elvis Week T-shirt, and he's mucking around with some wire, and then
you need fuses for wire.
And we spotted him in Kalamazoo buying a fuse in his jumpsuit. So
he just so that he wouldn't get caught out living in his own home, which is open to the public in Graceland as a caretaker. He didn't want to get spotted in local shops, so he drove 1,000 miles to get a fuse and had a Burger King and then headed back.
So there's a video on YouTube that's been viewed more than 2 million times. Now, how would you go about debunking this theory, Chris?
Probably easily.
Yeah. So you just go and chat to the bloke who works at Graceland, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
An affable gentleman named Bill Balmer. So 2 million times on YouTube, the one where people are actually saying,
This is Elvis.
This guy might be Elvis. Somebody actually went up, drove up, had a chat with the fellow. And the guy was just mildly annoyed and said, well, I'm not 81, by the way. But no,
I'm 36, just a hard line.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know how tough the landscaping gig is? Christ. Right,
I may or may not have fallen under my own lawnmower a few times.
Yeah,
let's just say I like a drink. It's a boring gig. There's a lot of chemicals involved. That's all I'm saying.
Now, talking of grey-haired, grey-bearded gentlemen, there was also, for Elvis's 82nd birthday, again, sighting at Graceland. Yeah, Elvis turns up sighting at Graceland. So there was a photo appeared on the Elvis Presley is Alive Facebook page in January of a man with a white beard and with security personnel in the top left-hand corner of the picture, who fans speculated could be guarding Elvis. They're standing quite a way back and to the left of him if they are guarding him. I'll say
that means that they're good at what they do.
Yeah, they're just hiding it.
You don't want the ideal, and I know this as someone who often has to hire private security. The ideal private security is you don't know they're there, so they're not impinging on your nice time, but they're also protecting you.
I thought the idea of private security is just so you could sort of show the hoi polloi who they really are, like Madonna going around Hyde Park jogging with a entourage, brushing everyone else out of the way.
I don't. I'm not sure that I'd even go, oh, it's Madonna, if I saw her jogging. I mean, you wouldn't you don't stare at people that much who are jogging, do you?
No, but apparently she used to jog around Hyde Park and there'd be like a load of security guards pushing people out of the way to try and jog on the same path.
Really?
Oh, we got some of them quite mad, Chris. Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't like that. You're not the fucking police. It's everyone's park.
No, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
I'd get into a bit of pushing and shoving with them.
And if you thought that was daft, I mean, so someone else is, what none of these have actually explained is why would he want to fake his own death? But there's a theory for that as well, Chris.
Okay. Aliens?
No. So one of the biggest theories on why Presley may have faked his death is because he had to in order to escape the mafia. This is from Time, by the way, Chris.
The what?
So Gail Brewer, I've switched to an article in Time.
Time
magazine. That's right, yeah.
Well, that's a weighty tone now.
It is. It's a prestigious organisation.
Yeah, don't they have like Time Man?
I've been Man of the Year in Time twice, Chris.
You have.
I believe we both have.
There was Saddam Hussein, you, Bush, Hugh Hefner, you again, Gaddafi, Bill Gates, Trump,
Epstein, presumably.
Gary Glitter.
Yeah. God.
Jimmy Savile. You again.
Oi.
Epstein again. Prince Andrew.
Right. No, because they I think that didn't one year they had the whole of the EU as Man of the Year.
Doesn't make any sense.
Person of the Year. No, don't. But I take it to mean that I've been on Time Magazine's Person of the Year.
Oh, really?
We were in the EU at the time, Chris. So.
Well, that's one of the reasons we got out, wasn't it? We didn't want to be associated with Time Magazine.
Didn't want to be associated with Time Magazine. Anyway, enough about that.
that was my main reason.
Gail Brewer-Giorgio, the author of the 88 best-selling book Is Elvis Alive? Answer in her mind is obviously yes. Recalled in a recent interview with Time how she poured through thousands of FBI documents to come to the conclusion that Presley was an American hero who had to go into witness protection.
Oh.
Do I know if Elvis is alive today? No, I don't. But I know he didn't die on August 16th, 1977, she said.
Oh.
Now, she's now 78, but she said the FBI enlisted Presley as an undercover agent in 1976 to help the agency infiltrate a criminal organisation called the Fraternity. Apparently it was made up of dozens of racketeers. It doesn't say it's the mafia, it's the Fraternity here, but whatever.
Well, that sounds more like
sounds like a bad cult.
Sounds like Skull and Bones kind of.
Yeah.
That kind of.
Do you you reckon it was just a local fraternity? Just some
Right,
frat boys trying to go out to Canada and buy some kegs.
Yeah.
They call that racketeering because it's a really trumped up fucking FBI charge. They just want to get the ATF in and try and cover up the stench of that fucking, what was it? Oh God, what was the one with Waco siege? Yeah. They thought they'd have another one of those, but get it right this time. So we're just going to invade a frat house. And just, they won't have any guns this time. It'll be fine. It'll just be kegs and frat boys. We can take them out.
I can imagine it'd be like a National Lampoons kind of thing.
Are we bringing the Bradley tanks? Of course we fucking are. Don't worry about it. Right, anyway. So, but then what else do you need? Actually, no, it would have been pre-Waco, wouldn't it, if it was in 76?
Yeah.
So this is the path too. Yeah, this is the warm-up act. Okay, see, that's what they needed.
Said they were unprepared.
You got to bring Elvis in. Don't fuck about.
Well, they
could have got
them
out.
Played their trump card too early, didn't they?
Too early, yeah. That's what they've done.
You kind of use it once.
He could have talked them down, got them all out safe. So Presley volunteered, spurred by his love of America and respect for the FBI.
Mm.
The author said the agency had approached him because a member of the fraternity had some apparent dealings with him over the sale of an airplane the singer had. But when he was found to be a mole, he had to be put into a witness protection program, citing what she said was evidence from FBI documents and interviews. When
she cites this evidence, has she produced this evidence?
Well, hang on a second. So Elvis, that's Neil code for, of course. Elvis faked his death because he was going to be killed, and there's no doubt about it, she said.
No.
So the FBI did not immediately comment on a decades-old claim that she describes at length in her book.
Well, because you can't answer every fucking nutcase claim.
But there's no mention of Presley aiding the FBI in more than 760 files the federal agencies released that pertain to the singer between 56 and 80.
What, 760 files on Elvis?
Yeah, well, apparently...
Well, there might have been loads of threats against him, I guess.
Well, you know the original kind of like way the FBI was run. Oh God, what's the fella's name?
Hoover.
Oh, my brain. Yeah, Hoover. I mean, actually, there was a lot of like, well, so I've read. Allegedly, there was a lot of blackmail files on sort of celebrities and things,
right,
and politicians. So you could lean on people if he needed information, or possibly for slightly more nefarious purposes. Yeah, it's quite a.
Well, and I guess
you always think the CIA gets up to the dirty tricks, and the FBI are quite clean. But
when were the communist?
Hoover was a fairly dodgy fella.
Witch hunts.
The McCarthy trials were in the 50s.
Elvis was around in the 50s, so they might have been. He got popular in the 50s, so they might have had files to make sure he wasn't a goddamn commie.
Apparently, a lot of them were because he was the target of several extortion attempts. So it probably wasn't, And I think if someone's that famous, they've probably got
death threats
for various reasons.
Extortion,
level of wealth, yeah, exactly. In fairness, in that.
How many death threats do you get a week these days now?
It's still in single figures.
Oh, that's good.
It's getting up there.
Nice.
Yeah. No more than 2 a day.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Water off a duck's back.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? So the release.
Are there any from anyone apart from me?
Well, A, no, and B, it's not credible death threats, are they?
Not really.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. If you want to be credible, Chris, you shouldn't cry down the phone in the voice message.
I was trying to give the impression of being unhinged.
Yeah, mission accomplished, but not in the way you think. Right, so the release documents outline the extortion cases and show his admiration for the FBI. During a tour he took at the FBI's headquarters in 1971, he spoke favourably of the Bureau and offered his services in any way, according to one of their memos. And there is a mention.
He tapped his nose as he said that. Tap, tap, tap.
Yeah. So a Presley researcher who wrote Elvis Decoded, he doesn't feel there's anything in the FBI files, and all the evidence points to a death. But there you go. So it may have been that, his extensive work for the FBI uncovering a criminal. It doesn't go on to document
the criminal.
What exactly, because she gets quite passionate that I can find actually. I think there's something in the. Yeah, so Stillborough, Georgia remains firm in her stance. The Georgia woman, who still says she does not have a single Elvis album and owns no memorabilia of him, insists her findings are based on facts, not feelings. I know what he really did.
Well, the facts. The world needs facts that are like, this will be quite good for my bank account.
From her narrative. Yeah, the world needs to know that Elvis Presley put his life on the line. I think it's sad we didn't know the whole Elvis. If I don't do this for Elvis, nobody is going to. So great singer. pretty good actor. Law enforcement as well. I mean, actually, that's a triple threat that Steven Seagal also brings to the table, isn't it?
Incredible singer, incredible actor, and a sheriff in some town where they just went, yeah, all right, you give us some money and you can be a sheriff.
Have you seen one of the late periods?
No. Well, I don't know. It depends. Would you
mostly him sitting down while a stuntman does it?
Would you consider Exit Wounds a late Steven Seagal?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm not sure. It's probably
does he move at any point?
Yeah, he does.
Without camera edits.
It's decent. I quite like Exit Wounds. It's decent. It's got Jet Li and DMX in it, and Aaliyah.
Well, Jet Li usually improves things he's in.
Yeah, DMX is good in it. Aaliyah's good in it, and Steven Seagal's in it.
That's a pity. Less of him in your Seagal movie.
Might watch that later. It's got a really good soundtrack, obviously, because it's got Aaliyah and DMX.
Yeah.
Both of who are dead, which is sad.
Yeah. So there you go. That's our list of sightings of Elvis.
What's the most recent? Have they kind of tailed off now that people aren't? Now that most of Elvis's core fan group
he can only be so old. But I think the last one that they mentioned was his 82nd birthday, which would have been what? So he died in 77, 42, 82nd. So it would have been 2017, I guess. Okay. So about 4 years back. So yeah, pretty up to date.
But there's
I was expecting you pop up to Graceland, Chris. You'll probably find him clearing out the gutters or something.
Yeah, painting the walls.
Yeah.
Doing a few
Let's keep himself busy.
Well, he liked the house. He didn't think about having to move. So, it's like,
he can't star in any more John Hughes movies because unfortunately he's passed as well. But
Curse of Elvis.
Yeah.
Curse, we lost DMX, John Hughes.
I was the hell going to say young.
Yes, Curse of Elvis.
Weeping into his Graceland lawnmower.
Okay. Right. Well, I guess then,
but believe or not believe, but it's there are those who do.
Certainly, it's something that some people have said, which is absolutely fine. So, Neil, let's go through our scoring system.
Yes, let's.
So, let's go. Start with spookiness, Neil. I assume you're going to give it a 10.
No, it's not really a spooky one. This, and it's well, no, it just isn't. It's
this is going to be a very low scoring one.
I mean, it is what it is.
I'm predicting. I haven't been through.
It's quite a famous one. So spookiness. It's not going to do very well because it's not spooky. It's not. So other than the FBI, him having to sort of hide for the next, which he doesn't seem to have been able to do very well. No, it's not like he's going out and haunting people and things like that. So I'm going to give this a 1 for spookiness. It's not really that kind of urban there.
Yeah, it is very low, isn't it? I'm trying to think of any way that it could be spooky. I suppose if you saw that you thought Elvis was dead, and then you saw sort of a blurry Elvis outline in the greenhouse at Graceland or something, it might be a bit spooky. So, but I'm working the angle there. So I think spookiness is going to be low as well. But I'm going to give it a 2. So believability. So, I mean, I don't believe that he faked his own death, but on the other hand, there is no hocus pocus around it. It's literally just someone faking their death. So that's something that people do. So that makes that believable. There's no kind of aliens or witches or monsters, which is a shame. But the sightings are, I mean, it's vaguely believable that he could have faked his own death. Right. I think that, that's doable. It would be difficult because you're the most famous, or one of the most famous men in the world, or people in the world, I guess. So it's tricky, but you could do it. But you wouldn't then be like turning up at gas stations and that kind of stuff. You'd be like either in a ranch somewhere, or have
get
moved
some
to
gas.
the country. Well, you don't. You get someone to go and do that. So I don't know, but I mean, again, like there's nothing kind of overly weird. So I mean, it's got a fairly high believability. I'm going to give it a 6 for me. 6 believability, Neil.
Yeah, kind of like, and again, do I believe that this is true? No, I don't. But anything from 5% upwards, apparently, of people in America potentially believe that he could still be alive. Again, whether or not, it's a bit like when they interview people, about facts that are really obvious during the Second World War and they get them wrong, and you kind of think when people respond to these surveys whether or not they're actually telling the truth. Because I think if somebody asked me if I believe that,
or if they're really thinking,
tempted to lie. Yeah.
When you're asking someone something asking someone a list of questions in a survey on the street, they're not going to sit down and have a good old think about what they actually believe, are they? They just go, yeah, no.
No, but you always get something like, I mean, it's usually in the Daily Mail or something, or someone say like, 20% of 16-year-olds don't know that Hitler was around in the Second World War, or that Churchill was the Prime Minister, or something like that. And you kind of think,
nah.
Were they just being sarcastic? I don't know.
Yeah.
I was when I was 16, so I probably would have, taken the piss if somebody came on trying to survey me about obvious facts from World War II.
I would, a 16-year-old, and considering when people are younger and sort of the generations sort of like below us are even probably more left-leaning than we are, and we're very left-leaning. But I think as a proportion, they're probably even more so. Like, they're going to do whatever they can, like, to take the piss and discredit the Daily Mail. So,
yeah.
No, never heard of him.
I think presumably the surveys are carried out by an independent company, but I mean, I don't know. Take some of these things in picture. Anywho, I forget what my point was. About the amount supposedly who people leave up. But no, I think it's one of those things. It's a bit like when people, as you say, thinking that John Lennon might still be alive, or Kurt Cobain, or Tupac Shakur, or whatever. These are larger than life figures, and you kind of almost don't want to believe that they pass away. Especially being very important in your life, sort of your music and things like that. So I think that's something that adds to it. You kind of that denial, hey, he would, if anyone would have had the resources to be able to fake their own death, that would have been Elvis. So I'm not saying that I believe it and all of the sightings and things, but I kind of go along with you that it's something that. And I think you're right that there's nothing too outlandish here other than things like him turning up in a white jumpsuit to buy a fuse. I think he'd probably be able to, but maybe he felt like
maybe he just felt he was bored.
He's been locked in for 6 months. It's like we're all feeling that kind of like pandemic fever. Maybe I'll go out in a jumpsuit in a bit. I'm going to give it a 5 actually.
5, okay. So Reach, Neil, your turn.
I think that this is quite far-reaching, actually. I've totally heard the whole, is Elvis still alive? And again, you have the various ones, Tupac Shakur, etc. But actually, I think Elvis is probably the original one, and he's probably one of those first really cult icons. I mean, you might have had like Bill Haley and people like that, but he was probably the first real youth superstar in the 50s. That sort of teenage culture, so that first real
him or
idol.
Cliff Richard.
Yeah, I think we all know which one's going to be bigger there. And because Cliff, bless him, still with us and annoying us. I think I think that this does have massive reach, even if whether you believe it or not, and all the rest of it. I think everyone's heard the stories about Elvis still being alive.
It's a running joke, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that this is pretty worldwide as well, because I think again he was one of that American culture really was at its absolute zenith. Rock and roll was taking over the world pretty much. So yeah, I'm going to have to give this an 8. I think
8.
No, I'm going to give it a 9 because I do think it's that it's lasted on. I mean, how long it goes on for, who knows? But it's as long as people
I
remember Elvis,
agree
really.
with all of that, and it's a running joke, and it's been I mean, there's books about it, clearly, plenty on the internet about it. There's films about Elvis still being alive, like Bubba Hotep, which we've mentioned several times, which you should watch because it's a good film.
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just everyone everyone knows Elvis, and everyone knows that people have said, "Oh, he's still alive." I think that's pretty universal. So yeah, I'm going 9 as well. And so narrative premise. So it's actually going to be high. But this is why we've got the system.
Exactly.
So narrative premise. So faking his own death. There's stuff around him infiltrating a fraternity who were trying to have a kegger, but the stuffy dean was trying to stop them. So he had to go into hiding.
What spawned all of those 80s, mate? Like Animal House came out like a year after that, I think.
Yeah, well, it was based on this.
Coincidence?
Elvis
and also a John Hughes movie, Chris.
Also a John Hughes movie.
Launched his career.
Wow.
And did he thank Elvis 12 years later?
Yes, he did.
Cameo? Yes, he did.
So again, it's not a big tale. It's not like a big story. It's not really a narrative. It's more that maybe this happened. I'm not sure how. I think the celebrity still being alive thing has obviously gone on and grown, and I think this is the first one of its kind. So for that reason, I'm going to give it a 7.
It's a bit higher for me because I think,
there we go.
Yeah, I mean, all of that, not loads higher, but yeah, no, I think it is quite a sort of compelling narrative for being the first one of those. Just that the idea of such a famous person, still being alive, it's something quite. It's quite a powerful hook there that lends itself to a bit of a narrative, and the thing is as well, you can hang a hook on that and have it do whatever you like. And so this will be the final time we shout out for Bubba Hotep, but they made a really great story out of this. So if you haven't seen it, and Elvis pretends to be an Elvis impersonator, and he follows adventures in an old folks' home with JFK, played by Ozzie Davis. It's well worth a watch. One of my favourite B movies, but you can turn it into that kind of story where he's battling mummies in an old folks' home, or you could go and meet him in a Burger King in Kalamzoo. I think it's just it's quite a strong to be able to hang stories off of. So for that reason, I'm going to give it an 8.
Okay, and that gives us an overall total of a very respectable 47.
Yeah, so
47.
Spookiness, but then other factors come out very hard.
There are other factors. Yeah, and just the notoriety of Elvis has pushed that right up. So that's it, really, from this week's Urbane Legends. Next week we'll be doing Tupac being still alive, and the week after we'll do Biggie still alive.
all of
Kurt
these
Cobain
ones.
still being alive.
Yeah, and then
yeah. Are there any others? Yeah,
Gary Glitter still being alive. Oh no, unfortunately he is, isn't he?
Oh, what's his face? Jim Morrison. Jim Morrison's still alive. Yeah, he's another one. Yeah, so there's a lot. We've got a lot to get to. That's going to be mainly the second series.
Anyone in the 27 Club, because I think there's been rumours about
Amy Winehouse.
Yeah.
Amy Winehouse.
And then, of course, for all of these people as well, there's theories that they were murdered by probably their significant other or someone
CIA.
close to them.
Or
the CIA, or the Mafia, or both. Because, to be honest with you, Chris, CIA and the Mafia, basically the same thing, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, the two, yeah, exactly. The left hand to the right hand. Yeah,
put your glasses on, sheep.
Of the
glorious brotherhood of the Illuminati.
Of the fraternity.
Yeah. Do you think the fraternity were either the Freemasons or the Illuminati?
I think that they
only an entity as powerful as Elvis could take.
I think they
even the FBI needed help with that.
I think they were the slapstick comedy wing of the Freemasons. Gross out comedy.
The ones that they had to get in because they were just influential and well born enough, but actually they weren't really any good at anything. So it's like farming out your idiot kid to the church back in the day.
Yeah.
They weren't
you were in the church, weren't you?
The politics of it. Yeah. Fair enough. I'll take it.
No, I'm joking. Cool. All right. Well, yes, we will see you, whether you're from Kalamzoo or elsewhere in the Midwest, next time on Urbane Legends. If you want to get in contact, then it's urb.legends podcast@gmail.com. I always remember that right at the end. So, goodbye.
See you later.